Ambassador Chen Wei stood at the observation deck of the Terran Resolve, watching the emergency session of the Galactic Council unfold through the viewport. The massive cylindrical station rotated slowly against the backdrop of Kepler 442b, its bioluminescent surface pulsing with the urgent communications of 1,000 species. For the first time in 3 centuries, fear permeated the council chambers. "Ambassador Chen," came the synthetic voice of Zix-9, the Crystalline Federation's primary delegate. Its faceted form sparkled nervously as it approached. "The Council requests your immediate presence. The situation has escalated." Chen turned from the viewport, his weathered face betraying nothing. At 67, he had spent the better part of 2 decades trying to warn these beings about the threat lurking in the void between. 2 decades of condescending smiles, diplomatic dismissals, and thinly veiled suggestions that humanity's primitive paranoia was showing. "Has it now?" Chen replied, straightening his formal diplomatic robes. "And what situation might that be, Zix-9? The crystalline being's light patterns flickered with what Chen had learned to recognize as embarrassment. The hegemony's 7th fleet, all 12,000 vessels. They're gone." Chen nodded slowly. The hegemony had been the most vocal, opponents of humanity's warnings, their reptilian leadership dismissing human ghost stories with particular venom. Their 7th fleet had been deployed to the Andromeda Milky Way junction, the exact coordinates where humanity had detected the first void signs 3 years ago. "Gone," Chen repeated. "As in destroyed, or as in missing?" "Missing." Zix-9's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. "No debris, no distress signals, no trace of quantum signatures. They were conducting patrol sweeps of the junction when they simply ceased to exist." The council chamber fell silent as Chen entered, his boots echoing against the biometal floor. Representatives from 200 species turned to face him, beings who had dismissed humanity as a juvenile species when they first made contact 50 years ago. The same beings who had reluctantly granted humans observer status, never full membership, despite humanity's contributions to galactic defense technology. High Counselor Vorth Ka, a towering insectoid whose species had ruled the council for millennia, clicked his mandibles nervously. "Ambassador Chen, we may have been hasty in our previous assessments." "May have been," Chen echoed, taking his position at the human delegation's modest podium. Behind him stood Dr. Sarah Okafor, humanity's leading expert on void phenomena, and General Marcus Torres, who had been advocating for joint defense preparation since the first contact. "The hegemony's fleet encountered what we've been trying to tell you about for 20 years, Chen began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "The Devourers." A collective shudder rippled through the assembly. The name itself had become something of a joke among council species, humanity's term for the entities they claimed lurked in the spaces between galactic clusters. "Ambassador," interrupted Counselor Mir Tang of the Aquatic Collective, her gills fluttering anxiously. "Our science divisions have found no evidence of these entities you describe. The quantum signatures you've provided could be explained by natural phenomena." Dr. Okafor stepped forward. "Counselor Mir Tang, with respect, your science divisions have never ventured beyond the galactic rim. Humanity has. We've been exploring the deep black since before we made contact with any of you." "Because you were too primitive to know better," sneered Vorthka, though his usual arrogance seemed forced. "Because we were too curious to stay afraid," Chen corrected. "While your species achieved faster than light travel and decided the galaxy was big enough, humanity kept pushing further. We found the edges. We found what lies beyond." General Torres activated his holoprojector, displaying tactical data that made several council members recoil. 3 years ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected massive gravitational anomalies at 17 different junction points between galactic clusters. The patterns match theoretical models for entities existing partially outside our dimensional space. "Theoretical models," Vorthka clicked dismissively. "We sent probe fleets," Torres continued. 73 vessels total. 41 never returned. The rest came back with sensor logs showing the same phenomenon. Reality itself being consumed, not destroyed. Consumed. The chamber erupted in nervous chatter. Chen waited for silence before continuing. We tried to warn you. We presented our findings to 12 different council committees. We were told our overactive imaginations were a species trait that would mature with time. Zix-9's crystal form pulsed rapidly. But the hegemony's fleet was equipped with the most advanced defensive systems in the galaxy. How could they simply vanish? Chen's expression hardened. Because you've all become complacent. You've spent millennia believing that superior technology makes you invincible. But the Devourers don't fight ships or weapons. They fight reality itself. Dr. Okafor brought up a new hologram, the last transmission from the research vessel Magellan, humanity's first contact with a Devourer. The image showed space itself seeming to fold inward, creating impossible geometries that hurt to look at directly. They exist in the spaces between dimensions, she explained. When they feed, they don't just destroy matter, they unmake it. They consume the very concept of existence in that location. And you believe the hegemony's fleet encountered one of these beings? Asked Mirteng. We believe the hegemony's fleet was feeding time, Chen replied grimly. Our long-range sensors detected a massive reality distortion at their last known coordinates. Something vast stirred in the deep black and decided it was hungry. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Vorthka spoke, his mandibles clicking with reluctant respect. What do you propose we do, Ambassador? Chen looked around the chamber, seeing fear and desperation where once there had been condescension and dismissal. We propose what we've been trying to propose for 20 years, joint task forces, combined research initiatives, and most importantly, defensive measures designed specifically for threats that exist outside conventional physics. Will humanity lead these initiatives? Zix-9 asked quietly. Humanity will contribute, Chen replied, as equal partners. Not as junior members or observers, but as the species that has actually encountered these entities and survived. Vorthka's compound eyes fixated on the human delegation. The Council recognizes humanity's full membership effective immediately. We need your expertise. Chen nodded solemnly. Then let's get to work. Because the hegemony's fleet won't be the last to vanish. The Devourers are moving closer to populated space and they're getting hungry. As emergency protocols activated throughout the station, Chen allowed himself a moment of bitter satisfaction. It had taken the disappearance of 12,000 souls for the galaxy to finally listen to humanity's warnings. But at least now, finally they were listening. The real work could begin.